Yes, you hit it. That finger point, that means go, baby.
Yeah, hey everybody, this is Mishka and Ed, and if you're joining us for the first time, we are married, very happily married.
That's kind of the point of the show, right? We are happily married. We can look
married.
into each other's eyes. Look, we're looking into each other's eyes right now and acknowledging our happiness, which is a pretty crazy thing considering we have survived
And thrived.
from the insanity of my sex afflictions and addictions, which is the title of the show, and we have dedicated our lives to doing the same.
Helping others do the same.
That's what, yes, no, we don't want to do the same because
That's
the
right.
same wasn't working for us.
The same wasn't working.
And we're going to try to do something different. And one of them, which is like really brave because this has been such a crazy evolution if you really think what has happened to us over the course of the past year is mind-blowing. And
Yeah.
right now we are entering, I think, what is the most exciting phase of our lives. One is being sane, awake. Thank you, George. I know you're listening. So Michelle and my name is Craig. This is Michelle. Ed and Mishka is kind of how we started. And we currently are life coaches at Compulsion Solutions. CompulsionSolutions.com is just a wonderful, wonderful place for helping men, women, couples dealing with this stuff. And we have a very exciting show tonight, Miss Tweeterbum Tweeter.
I'm just letting everybody know we're live.
Hello there.
Hello. Send us some questions and stuff. So just letting everybody know we're there.
So we are talking about your
Favorite book of all time? No, second
It
favorite.
is. It's the number one book on
It is
Amazon.com.
It's the number one book, and it's been out for a little bit. I mean, it's been the number one book for a long
50
time.
Shades of Grey.
I was going to see if anybody could guess, because I was a little surprised that it was
Well-
the number one book in all of Amazon.
I just ruined the punchline then, didn't I?
And you really did.
So we're going to talk about Shifty Fades of Faye. Hi, Faye. 50 Shades of Grey. But really from a different perspective because there's been a lot of controversy about the subject matter of the book. There's been a lot of controversy of how it depicts women in terms of that submissive role to the man. A lot of feminists, just a lot of stuff because it is a phenom, whether you like it or not. A lot of people
absolutely love it.
But what it's taught us
Say it's
about
fun.
safety and kind of what the impact that book has had.
For us. It honestly was a great book for us. I loved it, and we learned a lot from it. So we're going to actually talk about that. We're going to open the discussion on that.
And of course, we have our weekly show from the vicereport.com, the sex addiction in the news. Again, crazy subject that's just really, the impact is so profound with men, women, children, kids, families, couples, schools, religious institutions. It's just a systemic problem. And so I like to talk about what's in the news, and we're going to talk about our moment of Zen, kind of where we used a little enlightening part of our day to kind of just stay awake and remind us where we are and what we're doing. And and we have our new segment, which is
Communication breakdown. Communication breakdown.
Just when there was a colossal fail on our part, we want to share with you the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think it's so important to, sow an opportunity or just kind of a discord that we had that could have gone so far in one direction, but didn't.
And everybody could learn a little thing or two about communicating. I don't care if you're a therapist or you're a perfect communicator or whatever. Everybody does the wrong thing. Everybody misinterprets what people are saying. And they're kind of good lessons to kind of throw out there, put out there.
So we're going to talk
something
about that.
from it.
We're going to talk about that.
Here it goes again.
Hey, listen.
Blah, 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 blah.
I am the scheduler.
Blah,
Can you imagine
blah.
if Maria knew that I was like the person actually responsible for keeping people on time?
Do they do this on the Howard Stern show?
Yes, they just talk. They just talk.
They just talk. And if
They
they go
just
off
talk.
topic for a minute,
They go off
does
topic for a
Robin
minute.
get mad?
Depends. Howard sometimes does.
Really?
Yeah. And we're going to talk. Okay, so last week we talked about songs that have impacted your recovery in a profound way, or a way that reminded you of darker days. And one of the songs that I think reminded us of dark times was the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Under the Bridge. And if you remember that song, Under the Bridge Downtown, I threw my life away. That is a really, really great song. And but the one we did ask people to give us their recommendations, and we had one, and we are so excited. We wanted to play Salisbury Hill, and it's the song that Peter Gabriel wrote when he was about to leave Genesis. And with Genesis, as he talks about in the song, he's turning water into wine, and open doors would soon be shut. So he was changing, he was moving into a different path in his career, he was conflicted, he was ambivalent. And so that song is Salisbury Hill. So check it out. So what do you like about this song? This song has a very, very deep to me, just because of the change that the song talks about. And there's a point in my life where Andy Bruno, my best friend, we were at the beach together, and he pulled up to the beach. It was late at night. We were probably out drinking or being like fools and just going crazy. And I was having a tough time. And he played this song for me, and I never forgot it. Never forgot this song. Just looking over the ocean and listening to Peter Gabriel talk about how he was climbing up on Salisbury Hill. He could see the city light. And there's a part of the song where he talks about, I heard a voice standing, stretching every nerve. And that's one of the things that we talk about, which is so important with addiction, is listening to that voice. And George calls it the voice in your amphitheater. And that's in his book, Breaking the Cycle, Free Yourself from Porn, Sex Addiction, Porn Obsession, and Shame. I screwed up that whole title, but anyway, the book's on our website, and it's just a phenomenal book, life-changing book, and how that's impacted. But when you listen to that voice, so there's the part in the song that reminded me of that, and then there's the part kind of where he's going, where he broke right out of the machinery, okay? Where he broke, in the song he talks about, I broke right out of the machinery, my heart going boom, 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 because he was feeling part of the scenery. And that's kind of where I did amazing things, just really super cool, met some cool people in my corporate life. I did phenomenal things, and I'm so proud of those things that I did. And there was a point in time where I felt I was part kind of that machinery, or part of the scenery, and walking out of that, well, I just felt like I was part of a big machine, not fulfilling my potential. And that conflict from who I thought I was and who I was, and
the voice in your head.
The voice in my head, rage against the machine, fuck you, fuck everybody, and here I am part of this machine. And it was a great machine. We did really cool things for cool people, but at the time in my head where I was, I had to be free. I had to get tattoos on my arms and ride around on a little scooter and do and do stupid things. And also by kind of coming out and talking about this thing the way we are, obviously there's the impact of employers, and people are going to listen, and people are going to say, hey, and they're going to judge me and judge us. But we've got the most amazing friends, the most amazing support network, and we thought it would be much better to help people. And
can I tell you what I love about that song?
I want you to.
Okay, so what I don't know where the line is, but what I love about this song to me is Peter Gabriel just didn't feel happy, didn't feel fulfilled, didn't feel that he was giving his life everything that he wanted to. And he was safe where he was. He had the comfort of knowing what's around him, and he took a huge risk, decided this is what I want to do. I need to be more creative. I need to do my thing. And this little bird came and was pulling him, taking him home, and he listened. He listened to the universe talking to me. He listened to the world saying, okay, you need to do more. And he did it. And he went out and he took a risk and he did it. And I think that is really, really powerful. And that goes for all of life.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's it's power, you know, and that's something that we talk about all the time, and something that it took us to embrace is that power, and
making a choice to do something different.
It's embracing that power of choice, because you get to a place where you realize, okay, what you're doing isn't working, and there's the opportunity to wake up, but by understanding that power, embracing that power of choice. We all have that power of choice inside us, but we don't always have that conscious awareness of choice, and that's where addictive behaviors, that's where numbing, and that's where acting out lives.
So you don't realize you have the choice, but really in the end you always have that choice. You
Yeah,
just have to realize it, and you have to grasp it.
And I got to tell you, the song is deeply, it's deeply moving, because at the end of the song is when he finally makes the decision. He makes the decision to exercise that conscious awareness of choice, just like I made the decision to exercise that conscious awareness of choice and choose you, my awesome wife and my incredible family, and say, hey, George, Paldrum, Compulsion Solutions team, the world, Kevin. Today I don't need a replacement, and I'll tell them what the smile on my face meant, and it meant I got it, I understand, I have a choice. And once that awareness comes, you can stuff it down again, and I would imagine, and that's kind of working on the habit thing that we talked about last week. But today, I don't need a replacement, and so I want to just thank everybody for your incredible love and support, because it has been beyond amazing.
That was beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Wow, now I'm inspired. Seriously. All right, so that was great.
So
thank you, Craig.
But
Ed, who are you?
a good question. Good question. I think that's a never-ending question for all of us to take it to a much deeper philosophical, esoteric level. Who are you?
Well, yeah, but for me, it goes a little deeper.
For me, I'm sitting at my kitchen table talking to all you people.
Yeah, and it's a crazy thing to put ourselves out there and say this is exactly who we are, and but it's also very empowering and very freeing. So
yeah, it's so the song though. But what we want to do, we want this to be engaging. We want to connect with people. We're doing this because we want to reach out. We want to feel that energy. We want to feed us and let us help you.
We like to do it every week. We want to pick a song.
So we need them. What do we need from them?
We need you guys. We need you guys. We need you to tell us what songs inspire you, mean something to you.
I don't care if you're the 60-something-year-old founding and director of Compulsion Solutions. I don't care if you happen to be someone who spent years up in the tree in Tibet,
as a Buddhist nun.
As a Buddhist nun. I don't care if you are a seeker. Oh no, Kevin, you already get one.
No, he didn't.
I think we just named all the people who are listening. But
anyway,
we want to hear from you. We want to create a playlist. We're going to put it on the website, and we just want to hear kind of what music motivates you, because I want to hear that power. I want to listen to those lyrics and connect with that, and to really embrace a greater appreciation for what you're feeling when you hear that song.
So let us know. Put it on the site for Spreaker. Send us a tweet. Send us an email. Whatever.
There will be a price if they do not. They will continue to hear this. Miley Cyrus to Climb. I'm going to continue to play it until some of my metal or hip-hop brothers and sisters, country, I don't care what it is. There's so much great stuff out there, and we want to hear it, and that's just an amazing way for us to connect with music. So let's talk about...
Let's get to the topic of the show and the thing that I want to talk about, 50 Shades of Grey. So, 50 Shades of Grey, there is lots of controversy over it.
I think they might have heard about it.
I think you might have. Some say it's mommy porn. Some say it teaches abusive lessons. Some say it spiced up their sex life. Some say it's the greatest book written of all time. Some say it's the most horrific book written of all time. There's haters, there's lovers, whatever. There's so much going on with that book. But if you haven't read it, I'm just going to give you a very quick description.
And we walk the middle way.
We do walk the middle way. I see both sides of it.
And we try to see both sides. That's not something, people say, oh, you're a coward or you're not embracing a particular position. No. I love to get into that place in the middle and be able to see and understand and appreciate all sides to an argument. As a lawyer, that's super cool to me.
Yeah, but I liked the book.
And you like the book?
Yeah.
And you like the book for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and I'll defend it.
And so, and I got to tell you,
I get what they're saying. I'm still going to defend the book, though.
Yes.
Because I love the book.
Yes.
Okay, but
I'm not saying don't defend the book.
If somebody hasn't read it and they're making their judgments based on what's out there, I'm just going to give them a quick description. And I'm sorry if you haven't read it and you want to read it, and I'm going to spoil it for you.
Right.
Don't I have to give a quick description of it? Don't I need to give a quick description?
Kevin says it's mommy porn. We're getting.
Did he just say mommy porn?
Kevin, people are blowing up my phone talking about this thing, and people being Kevin and.
There's a little mommy porn-esque to it. That's true. But let me just give you a quick description. So it's about no.
I want you to give a quick description. But I also want to kind of. I want to start off.
Blah 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 blah.
I want to start off by saying that this book has had profound, might be too big of a word, maybe, but had a significant impact on safety, and we're going to get to that. And how it did is kind of a crazy thing, but this book really helped, and it. I'm very grateful for the lesson and tool it gave me, and we're going to talk about that. But why don't you tell everybody what this book is about? No.
Okay, so the book is basically, in a nutshell, I'm going to give you a quick overview. It's about a guy, and he, obviously...
A billionaire.
Billionaire, which is sometimes...
Young, attractive.
Oh, he's like 27. He's a billionaire. He's the most eligible bachelor in Seattle. And he's this guy, he can't commit to anybody. He was abused as a child, and he's got all...
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's why for us we can,
Keep going. I just wanted to ding.
He's got all these issues. People out there in the world, they think he's gay because he doesn't ever have a girlfriend. He doesn't bring anybody out in public. He keeps to himself. And then there's this girl. She's just graduating college, very naive, very inexperienced, never had a boyfriend in her life. Sounds like somebody else I know.
Ding, 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 ding.
They meet, however the circumstances that they meet, they're completely attracted to each other. They develop a relationship, and it's, as you know, with the 50 Shades of Grey, it's an S&M kind of relationship. That's how it starts.
We're talking ball gags.
No, they don't do that.
Tied up.
Yes.
Nipple clamps.
I think they do that one later. They work up to that. Not that I approve. So anyway, so let me get to this. Not that I'm not an S&M person. That's not something that I'm into.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's not something that I'm into. But the way that it took this guy who's all messed up and had all these issues and couldn't connect with anybody, and this girl who was really finding her own way in this world and finding her self-confidence, finding her voice, and just kind of going through life, and how they worked through each of their issues, and they ended up coming to a middle ground that was actually a beautiful love story in the end. And it's about what they learned about each other and how,
how they learned that there's always going to be another mountain, and they're always going to want to make it move.
They're always going to want to make it move.
It's always going to be an uphill battle.
So anyway, so that's a quick description of the story. There's a lot more to it. I highly recommend you reading it. But that's a quick
Well, let's just be careful there, right? So maybe there could be,
could be
some of my homeboys who are listening who are in early stages of... I haven't read the book.
No,
let's just get that. I haven't read the book. I don't want to read the book.
Okay, it is very triggering because what people have all this...
I mean, it's erotic fiction.
It is.
It's erotic fiction.
And what I do have to say about that is that for me and for a lot of women, it's just fun. It's just plain fun. And wait, stop. And especially in a world that, let's say, I live in, where the whole sex thing has been really, really jacked up. And for instance, it's not like, any spouse of a sex addict, for the most part, for many of them, you're not getting sex.
Sexual anorexia.
Yeah, and it's a real problem, and it's really, really frustrating to live and be in your sexual prime and want sex. So it's really a fun escape. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's a fun escape to read this book, and it is erotic, and it's just fun.
Well, but we don't have to tell everyone to read it. Let's talk about
No, but I was just saying. But I was just saying that's why I liked it. It was just plain fun, and the story and the character development I thought was really good.
From a someone in a sexual someone is in a relationship. Now, see, here's the thing that the thing about the book, and so it was very erotic and titillating for Michelle. I mean,
just in moments.
All right, in moments, but the book and the hard part I think to talk about is where my kind of sex fills into this, because one hand, when my sexuality is all jacked up, my sex is all crazy, and I've said to Michelle, I feel like a little kid learning about boobies and vaginas, and kind of like we're getting closer together, almost going to second base and date minute and kissing, and I'm kind of being a little facetious, but it's that it's that kind of but growing up again, because as a kid my sexuality was destroyed, you know what I mean, and here's the excuses again, but it was so fucked up, it was so twisted, and
like the psychiatrist.
And so sexy anorexia is, I'm no Rico Suave. I used to think I was, and I used to, I defined myself.
But like the therapist said, he had the emotional maturity of an adolescent. And I would say that's very indicative of
my sexual maturity, yeah, because it was
not his emotional maturity.
Yeah.
And that I think is very, very spot on.
Yeah, no, it was scary seeing the book, because I knew while Michelle was reading it that it was, stimulating, and we intimacy is one of those things that it's something that we've embraced, and we work towards it. We want to bring incredible awareness to it. It's and that's kind of one of the neat, exciting things is being young again, but or feeling young again. Feeling young again, I guess, or kind of maturing it with or growing in that space. For me, at least. For you, it must be. Well, wait a minute. This is for me. For her, it's incredibly frustrating. It drives it crazy, and hence 50 Shades of Grey being such an important part of your life.
Well, okay. So while I was reading it, I was telling him, I was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy. Oh my God, it's like I'm reading about you. Oh my God, it's kind of like I'm reading about me. Oh my God, I can't believe this." And I said, this author, she must know. I mean, she definitely has some experience in it. And people who don't live in the addiction world or the sex addiction world really don't get this. A lot of them don't get this book. They're just like, "Oh my God, it's crazy. Oh my God, it's this." But if you look at the character, so Christian, he was very, very wounded from his abuse, okay? You couldn't touch him. You couldn't sleep in his bed. He would have these submissive women that he wouldn't have a relationship with.
But he had all these rules.
He had all these rules. And so this is where we're going with this.
And you're just telling me what's going on. And this is the weird part. I did not read the book, but I am listening to her talk about this guy. And I was like, oh my God, he must be so cool, because he sounded cool and he was rich, which was kind of neat. I was like, oh yeah. And he created this safety. And it was an S&M kind of thing. And that's not my thing and whatever, but taking the act out of it was he created kind of these rules and these safety, and it was at around the same time when I was a good friend of ours who's a social worker knew that I had been sexually abused as a child, and had a whole bunch of abuse issues in a number of different contexts, stuff that I deal with. But when she sat near me, she would say, may I sit next to you? She used to ask me these questions, and I was like, because where I was in a place where I was feeling the energy. I was feeling my body shift away when someone got close to me, and I realized kind of the sanctity of the space that wasn't just my body, but it was around it. And so you're telling me about this book, and I'm hearing about this guy who you couldn't touch here, you could touch there, and so that kind of created this little thing that we did. Around, because I've got a crazy startle reflex, which is kind of weird. Talk about that from your perspective about the touching thing and how Chris's rules, the guy in the book, Christian's rules.
Don't call him Chris.
And
his name. It's Christian Grey. So basically, he would have a contract. Now, some of it was about the whole S&M stuff, but some of it's his rules. He can't handle certain things. You can't touch him. There's certain areas of his body you're not allowed to touch him.
Yeah, that was important to me.
Yeah, and there's certain things like you couldn't. He couldn't cuddle in bed with these women. So you weren't allowed. You had to sleep in another room. All these rules that sounded almost, abusive to somebody else. If you break it down, he created. This is how he controlled his environment. He did one thing that we did notice that he did do. When everybody wants to say what a bad dude he is, when you look at it, he put this control in his environment and did it in a safe way. He was with one person.
Well, and
And he was honest.
He was honest.
We never lied to anybody.
Honest.
He was honest. He said, "This is." I mean, he wasn't honest with the world, but the person he brought into his home, he was honest, and he
contrast.
He gave the person. He took care of them. He respected them. He just sexually just had to have his relationship his way.
I mean, think of the two kind of huge concepts that we took from this book. The book that I didn't read yet, but one for me that I took was safety and honesty, because there's this. And I realized that the more I talk to men struggling with compulsive sex and porn around this, and teaching them what I learned about listening to that amphitheater, hearing those voices talk to you, positive, negative, and really kind of being awake to your subconscious, and the lying. It's like, why the lying? I mean, just own your sexuality. If you're a grown man, if you want to see a prostitute and that works for you, go see a prostitute.
Or in his case, you want to go.
If you want to watch porn 5 hours a day, but the point I'm getting to, because he created, at least for that point in his life, somewhat of a healthy environment in that he was honest about it. The awakening around the excessive porn use, what that ultimately does, obviously, is create the awareness that it's crazy and that it's got to stop and that you're unhappy and that it's affecting you physically and mentally. I'm talking about just the honesty part. And life is too short to lie. It's too short to lie about something as important as your sex. Mm-hmm. And there are so many things that can happen to you throughout your life that can disrupt that sex. And the sooner you start being honest about that in your life.
About who you are.
About who you are. And that's creates another whole other thing. And we'll talk about that later around, people are watching this crazy porn, think, oh, I must be a sick pervert because I like, this kind of thing that they find shameful or guiltful, and that usually isn't the case. They are fantasies. It's not something that they want to act out. But so honesty, how crazy, that's something that jumped out at me. Hey, this guy's being honest about it. Wow.
That's right. And the honesty about, you just can't touch me here. That is my.
He didn't say why though.
He wouldn't. No, he wasn't honest about why. That's true. But you can't touch me here. This is my hard limit. You cannot touch me here. It's very bad. And one thing that Craig, Ed, whoever you are, does is, if I come up to him too quickly and touch his arm, I mean, it's like I punched you in the face.
I got a crazy startle reflex. So things like the sudden bump in the night, I jump and I get all nervous.
It's not a sudden jump in the night that normal people get scared over a bump in the night.
Oh yeah, right. So
you get startled because I walk by you and I put my arm on your arm.
That's right. So
you probably just got annoyed. I just got startled right now.
No, because you did you did a quick move. So any quick furtive movements to me feel.
And he says it's like you're a ninja, like coming to attack me.
It's like
I'm not.
But the words I use.
Walked up to him and put my arm against him, and sometimes it's like loving and it scares him still.
But the words I use are assault.
Is that where the sound is coming from?
I don't know. The words I use is assault and attack.
Assault and attack.
So listen, let's take a short commercial break. We've been rocking for about a half an hour.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Assault and attack.
And
hello, everybody. We are back, and we left you with, what were the words we left with? Assault and attack.
Yeah. So you would, Michelle would put her arm on me, or would come up behind me, like, hey, or move things to my face, hand gestures to my face. Hey, Craig, have a bite. And I'm like, of course, there's the kind of the aware part of the mind, which is, okay, someone's offering me a bite of something, it's probably tasty, but then there's this back part which is a hand flying at my face, ready to ready to assault and attack. And so when I use those words, and so one of the things that, tell kind of, what did we do? So I get crazy like that, but so what's your perspective? Because it's kind of weird for you to have to deal with this stuff.
Well, it is, and the weird thing is that, number one, it is honestly, and I appreciate what he's saying. It is a little bit, though, in the mind of somebody like me, it's insane. I'm just saying, hey, you want a bite of a piece of really yummy peanut butter cup, or just touching his arm in a loving way. But because he never told me that's what he feels, but it's how he feels, so it's his reality, and I need to respect that. But because you've never been honest with me, then you'd always make this thing in your head that I was doing it to you. because subconsciously you thought I was doing it to you, when I was really just being loving because I love you. I always have loved you, and I've always, wanted to make you happy. I never wanted you to be afraid and
well,
not
you certainly
safe.
didn't want to assault me with an iced latte.
I really didn't want to assault or attack you with a homemade iced latte. And I put a lot of love in that.
Listen, I remember,
a lot of love.
I remember,
and sugar.
I remember
and milk.
In my head the rice cookies with the peanut butter in them, and all I see is like Chinese stars rice cookies flying out my face. Like I have these flashbacks of that, and so it's so crazy.
What are rice cookies?
You handed me a rice cookie once, and I went, ah!
What's a rice cookie?
The little rice things that the kids eat. The little.
Oh, the rice crackers.
Rice crackers, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was a cookie.
Yeah,
Big difference in a cookie and a cracker.
And what I want to say, Joe, just for my friends out there, is that what got us to this point and this awareness and this realization, by the way, was first thought wrong. Because I would realize that there was this nice, beautiful person who I deeply love and like to hang out with and is my best friend.
And is making you a nice latte.
And is making
like
me
4
a nice
times
latte
a day.
when she puts the straw up to my face in this aggressive, attacking manner, which is, would you like a sip? Whoa, get the fucking thing out of my face. And I remember, first thought wrong. Like, wait, why would wait? I was like, wait a minute, why would I say that?
But then you say that exactly like, oh my God, I didn't mean
energy
that.
discharged.
Well, no, but you say it to me, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't mean to scare you. I understand that you're wounded and that you're scared, and so let's get back to 50 Shades of Grey. So what 50 Shades of Grey taught us was that, like Anna, the girl, she would ask him, "Can I touch you? Can I touch you here?" And basically, her coming into the home threw his whole control out the window because she wasn't a submissive person. She might have enjoyed getting to understand the S&M lifestyle a little bit, but it was really on her own terms. She needed to feel safe. She would not be controlled. And he had to learn to be vocal and respect her needs as well. So I just feel like it's a perfect analogy to what the sex addiction and the sex addict and the spouse or the partner goes through, because you both have to learn how to compromise, come to a middle ground. So I can respect that you need me to ask you. So if I brush up against him really quick now and I see him cringe a little bit, I just say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that.
Or I might yell out, attack!
Right, and I'll say something funny, and we joke about it. But that awareness has brought us so much closer, because I never knew that he actually felt like I was attacking him and I was awful.
I didn't know.
That's right.
I didn't know.
You just got annoyed with me.
I just got annoyed.
So when you get annoyed,
I internalized that negativity.
And then when that annoyed gets stuffed up on another annoyed and another annoyed and another annoyed and another annoyed,
boom,
and before you know it, you're out the door doing whatever you're doing, and I'm home crying in bed. So yeah, that
Kevin wants to know if Anna is getting triggered right now. Is that what you want to know, Kevin? That's you, I think.
I am Anna, I guess. Yeah, man. When you talk about it, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's good. It's good to open the discussion. And
well, so I haven't read the bok, but
it is kind of triggering
to have this book that got all this press and for all these other reasons. To have this impact on me, a book I haven't read, but to really illuminate that sense of safety. And we talk a lot about safety, right? Because the safety where I'm projecting in the past, and you're living the safety today. And Michelle is raising her hand. Yes, please. My codependent, submissive. Oh, we're going to talk about codependency, too.
That's going to be in another episode, though, because I just get too fired up.
But why can't you get fired up now? Because
I don't want to talk about codependency. There's a few more things I want to talk about 50 Shades of Grey.
Go.
Okay? Is that okay?
All right.
Is that okay? Are you trying to control me? Are you trying to control me?
Are you codependent? You talking to me?
You talking to me? So, and a lot of people say that one of the reasons the book is so bad is because Christian is completely abusive, and that's an abusive environment. And I don't know if a lot of you guys can relate to this. After a point, he had to confess, and he said, "Yes, I like to beat young brunette girls because they remind me of my mother." But I think that it's something that you can kind of relate to if anybody out there has had that kind of abuse.
Anybody with mommy issues?
If you have mommy issues or whatever, there's this element of even though you may love women and whatever, deep down, isn't there something
Well, deep
to
down,
that?
so I was adopted. So I've been through every iteration of kind of going back to the womb, and there's this doctrine or this theory or this thing, which I think they proved with the Romanian babies, but the primal wound, and that's the wound that they say adopted children feel when they are pulled from that womb and put someplace else. And I think the basis for the science there is when they did the brain images of the babies in the orphanages in Romania, they noticed a significant cognitive, physiological deficiencies in the brain where they're just gray matter didn't exist, things just weren't firing. So that's kind of the primal wound, taking it all the way back there.
Right. So, I mean, so that there's definitely...
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you can relate to that. And so, but once it was out in the open, and when they... Right. There was an awareness to it. And then there was a couple of instances where he scared Anna. And she was like, this is too much for me. And that really deeply hurt him. Because it was control, it was this, but he's like, I don't want to scare you.
So is that you being hurt with, or is that you like saying, I don't want to scare me? Like that's just...
That was, I don't know, I haven't, what?
No, go on.
No, but there's a point in this, and I'm not even relating this to me, but, so he had to learn to say, okay, let me listen to her needs because I love her. I care about her. And there's nothing I want less than to see her hurt and crying. And that's when he learned to open up, to communicate, it was a long process, but they learned to work together as a team. And it was really, really cool.
And when the walls,
I like that part.
When the walls came down and he started to heal, that gave him the power of empathy.
Yes.
Empathy, right?
Yes.
Because that's so important in relationships like ours, that people have been through what we've been through, what I've done, right? And let's get that straight.
But I've been through some.
What we've been through, I guess that's whatever. But the shit that going down, yeah. So anyway, that I think it's really interesting, and just tell us, let us know,
yeah, we want to know. Okay, so that is our take on the book. And again, I mean, they really, really learn how to love each other. I don't know if we described it enough for you guys to understand, but I felt it was a great book. Go read it if you've read it. Let us know. Send us emails. Send us tweets. I want to start a discussion on it because this would be a really good discussion.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I know you'd be thrilled to be able to talk to someone like this. And there's a couple blogs. I sent you one, actually. Did you look at the one I sent you?
I haven't had time. I will. Oh, that time thing.
And, yeah, so I think that'll be interesting, though, to have that perspective. Again, I didn't read it, but the book had a profound impact on my life. That sounds crazy. So did, Moby Dick, but actually it's just a chapter. So anyway, yeah, check it out. Do whatever. All
right. So, would you like to go talk about sex addiction in the news?
Sex addiction and the news. This is going to be the most self-serving... No, we didn't do a commercial.
Okay.
Should we do it? No. Self-serving sex addiction in the news. And as you know, Michelle and I are now life coaches with the team at Compulsion Solutions. We have some incredible things that we're working on. And we're talking literally game-changing like things. And if anybody knows Michelle and I, when we go big. And we are working on a course, an online course that's really going to have just a profound impact and enable so many more people to be able to learn about the Compulsion Solution, where we are combining the best of online e-learning techniques and transformative exercises through technology with still having that one-on-one care, whether that's in person on the phone or over the internet. So that's absolutely is amazing. We've had some amazing calls with people. That's moving along rapidly. We're totally pumped. We're also doing groups, which I'm totally pumped about. That's the news. Totally pumped about the groups. Tell them about the groups.
Tell them about the groups. We're doing men's groups, women's groups, and couples groups. We want to help people to survive and thrive like we have. We've been through it, we've learned, and we really know what it's like, and we want to be able to help people. And if you're going through it, it's tough. And we want to help. We want to help support and empower you guys to live the awesome life that you deserve to live.
So it was quite a quiet week in the news, and so the one thing that I do got to share with you, and we're going to post this up on the Compulsion Solutions blog, is we've created this online porn calculator, and it's absolutely cool because what we did in building this is we wanted to help people understand, hey, I'm only watching porn 15 minutes a day, I'm watching porn a half hour a day, and if we project forward, what the impacts are going to be over your lifetime. You know, how much time and how much money. And so what we did is we took the tools that some HR departments use to quantify efficiency. Did you see this thing yet?
Yeah, I saw it.
And quantify efficiency. So what we do is, simple, it's going to go upline real soon. So let's just say, for example, how many minutes per day do you watch porn? Johnny, I watch porn for 15 minutes a day.
Does it count? Does reading Shades of Grey count?
You know, I don't know. It depends on how it makes you feel. Do you feel shameful? Do you feel shitty?
Don't.
Are you able to channel your sexual energy in a healthy place?
Yeah, actually.
Because we don't judge.
No, we don't judge. And it does allow you to...
so let's say Johnny watches porn for 15 minutes a day and he makes, say, $50,000 a year. He's doing good. Really happy for Johnny, but this porn thing is getting in the way. So you click the button, you hit calculate. So check this out. Over the course of 1 year, poor Johnny has spent 70 hours on pornography. How crazy is that? 70 hours on pornography, and he's wasted approximately $7,000 of productivity.
In 1 year.
In 1 year. So, and we base the amount of productivity on creating an hourly value for the time based upon his salary. So in 5 years,
he will have wasted 351 hours, which is almost 44 days, which is a waste of $35,000 in productivity.
So can you imagine what you could do in 43.91 days, those 351 hours in 5 years? If you said, I'm going to do something really, really cool, and I'm going to put aside those $351.
Can we look at, because a lot of men who have porn addiction, don't they watch more than 15 minutes a day?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So what do you think?
Let's do someone who's got, probably a pretty serious problem.
2 hours?
2 hours a day, 120 minutes.
Is that someone who has a problem? 2 hours is good?
They only have a problem if they say they have a problem.
Okay, so 2 hours a day. Oh, minutes. Okay, 120 minutes. They make $100 an hour. Is that how much they make? No, I want to do the yearly. Sorry, guys. Okay. So that person, in 1 year, $50,000 a year, they lose $12,500 in productivity, and in 5 years, they wasted 2,000, almost 3,000 hours, and $62,000 in productivity. So that's pretty insane.
10 years, it's 702 days. We're going to put this up. You can experiment with it and kind of learn about, maybe how much time you might be wasting, how much time other people might be wasting, and just kind of looking at that value. And so when you look at that value, it gets absolutely pretty shocking. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and we will right back to wrap up our show. We hope you guys are enjoying it, having fun, and learning something.
Bye.
We'll see you when we get back. Hey, we are back, and this is Ed and Mishka of Sex,
Afflictions, and Addictions.
Coming at you live from Sacramento, California. And where were we?
Okay, so our next segment, we're going to talk really quick on my moment of Zen.
Let's hear about your moment of Zen.
So my moment of Zen, I read an article a couple days ago. And it was like a blog article from this person who has been writing this series of these lessons from the French women. And
we'll put that up on Spreaker.
We will, because it's great. And the one before, the lesson number 1 was good too. But this one was to stop chasing happiness. So I said, interesting. So I read the article, and basically what this article said was, it's about just telling you to enjoy and embrace all that life has to offer. So that's the good, the bad, the insane, the excitement, the sad stuff, the incredible stuff. And if you open up and truly feel all these emotions, embrace them, allow yourself to have a bad day, allow yourself to just kind of be blah one day and not, when you tell yourself, oh, get over it, or you tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to have a bad day today. I'm going to have this great day. I'm all about being positive. I'm all about that positive energy. But if you also don't allow your feelings to be there, you don't actually get rid of them. They actually just get stuffed down. And then if you do that, they end up coming out later, and they end up coming out backwards. So or sideways, and it might come out yelling at somebody, your kids, or yelling at your husband, or just they come out wrong. And so if you learn to sit with your emotions and learn to sit with the bad, including the good, it's amazing how quickly, once you kind of become friends with it, it softens and you learn to just kind of be at peace with that. It becomes a part of you and you're cool with that. And then you can move on to the happier place. And so basically what that's saying is once you can love yourself and all your feelings that go along with it.
And it's not wallowing, is it? Because that's the part that when you talk about that.
No.
When you talk about that, it's. I know you're not trying to say that, but I'm kind of like, so you accept that you're in this miserable state, but there's more to it than that. There is an element of acceptance to it, but there's something about having that presence of acceptance which brings kind of instant light. It's that whole light disinfectant kind of thing. Once you shine light on it,
right? And especially when you've suffered. I can only speak for the spouses. When you suffered a trauma that we have suffered, you've got so many crazy emotions, and you cannot just say turn them off. If you turn them off, number one, that's not natural.
That's like
and
saying
that's not fair.
Stop being an addict.
That's right. It's not fair.
Stop it.
And so you sit there, and what happens is you swirl in the toilet bowl. You swirl in the toilet bowl of emotions. You swirl and swirl and swirl. And to me, the swirling is a little bit of wallowing. Okay?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Even though you're
not
meaning to wallow. But once you just sit down and just breathe and let it in and say, you know what, I am going to feel this shit, but I'm going to love myself for it, and I'm not going to be scared of it. I'm not going to be annoyed. I'm not going to be running away from it. And I'm just going to accept that I have these feelings in me. It's amazing once you kind of open yourself up to that, that's when you can actually find peace within yourself. And when you do that, and this is the point of my moment of Zen, the happiness comes very naturally. And that's what this is saying. Stop chasing that happiness. Because if you stop chasing it and accept that the world that you're in, and then you use that to empower you, then the happiness is there. The happiness has always been there. But stop, be it, become it, stop chasing it. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. It's just, it's.
And it was a great article.
Yeah, no, it's that awareness and that same everything you said, applies to the guy too. And it's just that awareness and accepting where you are, because there's so much running and there's so much chasing. There's chasing after the addiction, and then there's chasing after the recovery, and that's one of the things that we do, I think, so well at Compulsion Solutions. Thankful for George in developing this treatment modality, but it's bringing that sense of awareness where you're not white knuckling it 20 years later, still unable to walk by the bar without falling into a fit of frenzy, or looking down someone's shirt and being triggered and being forced to act out. It's just this awareness and presence to heal. And he says he's a former sex addict because of the work that he's done, and because of this, it's not just wallowing in I'm an addict, I'm an addict, I'm an addict, I'm an addict, I'm an addict.
Right, and I feel like when you really feel those, I don't know, like for me, feeling all those feelings and allowing myself to understand it, and it really did empower me, because I was like, God, I love myself anyway, even though normally I would have been annoyed with myself for being so upset, and I'd be on the bed and I'd be kicking and screaming like, I don't want to feel like this anymore, this is terrible, I can't do this anymore. And like I said, you swirl and you swirl. But when I just laid in the bed and I said, I'm just going to feel like this, I'm just going to be who I am right now.
Which might be crazy, which might miss the kids' homework, which might mean late for practice, which might mean
I've had a tough year.
Dinner's not ready when you wanted it to be ready, or you forgot to bring the dish to the party. All those things that you can use to pile on and to really, if you look at it, right, their
and
energy.
Say, oh, I'm no good. I'm not a good mom. I'm I'm not good enough, just like you would do the same thing.
That's right.
And that energy, like you said,
it's fueling the toilet bowl.
That's right. But when you let it in, you say, I still love myself. Look at me. And you feel empowered, and you kind of, I don't know, for me, it makes me want to, kick ass.
No doubt. And I think that's a perfect segue into the communication breakdown segment of the show, which is where Mishka and I highlight just a random, normal, simple discussion where we both were kind of men are from Mars, women are from Venus things, and where the projection kind of set in. There was a certain element of defensiveness, and then of course there's the awakening to say, okay, let's listen to where that's going. But why don't you kind of tee it up?
Okay, so we were literally at the pool, and Craig had come down to do some work, and I just said to him,
"Yeah, right."
No, you just were sitting there.
I was sitting there,
and so I said,
working,
right, and so I said to him, "Oh, you can see there. Nobody's sitting over there. You can sit over there in the shade." And he said, "No,
thank you." I said, "No, thank you."
I said, "Oh," I said, "Are you going to sit in the sun?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I could hear a tone in his voice.
Me?
Yeah, you.
A tone?
Yeah. So I could hear a tone in his voice. And so, I don't remember how the exact words came out, but really I was like, why are you being rude? I was just trying to help. And really what it was is I thought he had his computer. And when you have your computer, you can't sit in the sun because you can't see.
So you assumed?
Well, because you've always had your computer. Every single time you go down there to do work, you've had your computer.
Doesn't make any sense.
So I did make an assumption, and when you do assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So never assume. That's what I've learned. But you only had a piece of paper, and you wanted to sit in the sun. But here's where the communication broke down, is that instead of him saying to me, no, I'm just having my paper, I'm just going to sit in the sun because, that's just what I want to do. He got annoyed. And then instead of me saying,
Well, let me just kind of my perspective, right? So I get annoyed because, one, I'm, the first projection of being micromanaged, the projection of telling me what to do, the projection of controlling me.
I was totally controlling him, everybody.
When in fact...
totally controlling him.
She was making a helpful suggestion. Say, hey, maybe if I had to translate it into like the perfect words that would have caused angels in my head to sing and dance. If you have do you have your computer? No. Well, if you have your computer, you can see better in the shade. No, because then I would have thought, I fucking know that.
Well, and really, in the end, what was good, whatever came out of it didn't matter. What was good was that we both kind of looked at each other and we both laughed because it was a ridiculous conversation. And a year and a half ago, we would have both been annoyed with each other. He would have thought I was controlling, and I would have thought he was a pain in the ass. Well, and I would have been like...
one of the things that you get with this is that you can feel the energy. You can feel the energy move in a separate versus together. And that's something that we're very, very conscious of, is feeling that energy of togetherness versus separateness, and having that awareness of, like, whoa, wait a minute, like I can feel like my head almost back up, or I might look away, or I might shift my body, or it might be a foot, or it might be a hand. And
I think when you're going through stuff, or over the years, you kind of get used to that that going separate. Like, it's not like an uncommon thing. It's kind of like that, when like an uncomfortable thing is like your norm, is your comfort.
That's right.
And so that happens. So you don't think twice to discuss it. You don't think twice. You're just kind of annoyed, and that's your norm. And
you but what's happened now versus towards.
That's right. And what's happened now is we're moving away, and we don't like that anymore because that's just not healthy, and it's just not where we want to be. So we're able to look at it, and we both really laughed. And he was like, "Oh, you were just being nice," and I was like, "Well, I don't even know why I had to tell you anyway. Like, that is being a little bit like a mom, like." We were both kind of no need, and so, but it was a great way for us to not end up having a fight over something ridiculously stupid, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, and that felt good.
It's using that,
but it was a breakdown
and communication break up. No, not break up. I'm trying to think of a positive word. It was a communication enhancement in the sense
communication
conversation, because it's we were able to use that to sense that dissonance, and then quickly figure out, hey, what's going on, and listening to it and listening to that voice. And again, broken record, first thought wrong is so very important, especially in the early stages. just absolutely critical. So, well, we want to hear from you, kind of, some of your, communication breakdowns, which really is just a continuation of our Moment of Zen segment, because you use these breakdowns, and whether it's in the moment or whether it's an hour later or whether it's 5 hours later or 5 days later, it doesn't matter. So you can use this, and we talked about, my addiction being my friend, and listening to those voices and trying to use every single conscious movement as an opportunity to be aware and to grow. And so we want to hear you. You want to hear your experience. What are you thinking? You guys are crazy. This doesn't work. You're absolutely idiots.
Well, some of you might say that, but that's okay. We can take it. We
want it.
We can take it. But one last thing I want to say. Well, I hope not. We've worked really hard to get where we are. But what I do want to say is that it also gave us a moment for you to say, "Wow, you were just saying that because you care." You know what I mean? And to recognize that that there is.
Well, it certainly wasn't to micromanage and control me. Now, listen, and that's a really important issue, and we're going to talk about that sense of safety and trust, and trust is going to be an ongoing theme, and how trust is kissing cousins with this controlling, and kissing cousins with micromanaging, and that's going to be just something that we're going to talk about.
So where does that expression come from, kissing cousins?
Why is anyone kissing their cousin?
I don't know. Why is that an expression? Why kissing your cousin?
Do they have a sex affliction and an addiction?
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I just thought kissing cousins, just strange.
So we want to hear your thoughts on that. We definitely want to know.
And if you know where the term kissing cousins come from, I want to know that too. Okay.
Kevin has just opened up the Wikipedia window.
Yeah, Kevin, find the answer, okay?
And so we just want to thank everybody at Compulsion Solutions. Thank you all for listening. Please, please, please tell us about, if 50 Shades impacted you in any way that's beyond, what's been written about in the mainstream media. We talked about how it created some awareness around honesty and safety, which is just kind of cool. And music. What song are you listening to?
Yeah, we need to know. We want to make a playlist. So we really, really need you guys to hook us up with that. All right, so last thing, I want everybody to remember this, words of wisdom. You can't change the past, and you surely cannot predict the future. So all we have is right here and right now. And we want to thank you for spending that with us. Thank you, and see you next time.
We love you. Bye.